So today we have Esther with us. So Esther, is it Barthel? Is that how?
Barthel, yes.
Barthel, good. So yeah, welcome to the podcast, Esther.
Thank you for having me, Neil.
No
and
problem.
Stefan.
Yeah. Obviously, I've known you for a while. We've been involved with sort of community together for a while, and we met up at a few EVT conferences and stuff like that. So it's good to have you on.
Well, it's good to be on because I really love the fact that you and Stefan got so excited building a whole new community. So anything I can do to help you guys or to promote this, happy to do that.
Thanks, that means a lot. Yeah, the community is growing just amazing rate. It's crazy to think that we only started it like 7 weeks ago. Yeah, it's continues to grow further. So yeah, do you want to tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I don't know how many people do not know me yet, but oh, that sounds like I have this big ego. No, that's well, basically, I've been in IT for more than 20 years now, mostly doing consultancy jobs. And I think for the past 7 years, I've been very involved in different community programs, like the Citrix Technology Professionals program or the Microsoft MVP program in the last couple of years. So that allowed me to share all my experience and knowledge on end user computing with the community, and even help with a mentorship program that we started recently to also get like more women out there, more visible, to have a more diverse group, basically. And I know that if we are talking about diversity, that can be a very delicate topic. So I don't want to focus on that, particularly because for me, it means more women in tech. But I do know and recognize that there are a lot of different diversities out there as well.
Great. Yeah, I think community is so important for everyone.
Yeah, and I think it's basically like a human need to be social and to be able to share your passion or the things that you are passionate about, and to find kindred spirits and share that knowledge, or just battle stories, or get inspired by something that a community friend said or shared. Get new ideas. So yeah, I think community is the most important thing to get us going and to keep creativity in this line of field.
Definitely.
To help each other out, yes.
Yeah, because I've been in IT a long time like yourself, but I'm a massive introvert. I'll happily admit that. I prefer to spend time on my own rather than like a group of people, for example. But I started to sort of push myself to get involved with the community around 5 years ago. And the best thing I ever did is it makes such a huge change to you personally, and also to your career, because you get to learn so much from other people. So yeah, it's good.
I think it took us a while as IT work field to understand that we had to shift from the knowledge is power, like that God mode complex that we sometimes just fall into as administrators, and all these users keep asking us to help them out or to give them privileges. So I totally understand that, but I think as an industry, we had to grow into realization that sharing knowledge is even more powerful. Not just helps you, because if you have to share it, you basically have to think about what you know and already connect dots before you are able to learn someone else the tricks that you've learned, or you have to be aware of what you, or more conscious about what you know, and be able to share that. And I think as a community or as an industry, we have grown so much in recognizing those people within the community that have been putting extra effort in sharing what they know, without making it like a whole commercial
Yeah,
consultancy gig, so to speak.
absolutely.
So I'm the rookie in this one. You all got a lot of experience in like the communities. And
Yeah,
for me,
well,
it just started. It's like a half year ago. I started with like writing those blog posts and sharing my knowledge and interest in for example WVD. And it's already great to see how everybody is helping each other and sharing the knowledge, and you will see it in like the newsly blog letter, the newsletter. It's full of blogs created by all those people from the community.
Yeah.
yes, and what I particularly love about the communities that I've been involved in is that it's a very open and welcoming atmosphere. So even if you feel like the newbie, it's not about status or egos or
Not at all.
accomplishments.
Nope.
So it doesn't have like that hierarchy in it. So I can easily have a drink at the bar with you and talk about WVD and how excited I get about it. As we already did last week, and went crazy and passionate. I love that. But we could easily have had that at conferences that support the communities and the social part of the networking.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you, it doesn't matter that I've been already involved for like 7 years, because I still, and I totally relate to the introvert part, Neil, because I think I just learned to be outgoing and to be expressive in my passion. But I still have those anxieties when I have to go, so to speak, on stage and present. Because I feel more comfortable doing one-on-one conversations. So this podcast is even easier because it feels like a one-on-one conversation. And I can block out the whole idea that I don't know how many users are watching this on YouTube. So that calms my nerves. But if I have to go on stage or now do these online presentations, I'm all nervous again. Excited in a good way that I'm able to share my knowledge and experience and get to talk about what I'm passionate about. But on the other side, I'm still, that introvert in me still would love to just hide in the shades and just code in my case or script and do cool stuff. And hopefully be able to share that with someone. But yeah, it's I think once you get over that first threshold and enter a more active or have a more active approach to the community, then you learn that it also gives you energy. And well, it I don't know if it's like adrenaline, but it does give you that small rush. That people are that other people are acknowledging what you know or are saying, hey, that's a cool idea. I never thought about that. Let's work on this, or maybe even after a presentation or knowledge that you shared, reach out to you and simply say, well, what you said back then inspired me to do this. And then you get back some cool new information and knowledge. Yeah, I love how that exponentially explodes in a good way.
And it will also give you more confidence in doing it. That feedback, that positive feedback, that positive energy.
Yeah, and I learned that after you have that first experience and you work over your nerves, then it becomes also very rewarding to not just share your knowledge and be in that spotlight or to be the enabler, but to now shift in a more mentor kind of role and support and sponsor and help basically the new community players, so to speak, but those that are looking for a way to enter the community in a more active role, and to basically to give them some guidelines and to help them, or to just simply be there and be like their small cheerleaders going like, woo, you did great. But yeah, it sounds like such a simple gesture, but I've learned from experience that it means a world of difference if there's just someone out there just nods, acknowledge that you're hitting the right words, or your story makes sense. And I know with conferences it's been easier because you have that visual recognition. With online, so I really applaud you guys for building a community solely in well, I think we're gonna call this an era in 10 years where we were forced to be basically isolated and find new social connections online, more virtual interactions. So I think it's really cool that you are finding new creative ways to build a community just on well, this passion that or love for a product or technology that binds us, so to speak.
Thanks, Esther. That means a lot. I mean, I'll echo exactly what you just said there, because I did my first presentation last year at the UK Citrix User Group.
I know. I so wanted to be there.
And it was kind of, because I was chatting to Jim all about it, and I'd personally not done it because I never thought I was good enough. Because I used to see all of these experts do all these presentations, and I used to think to myself, I'm nowhere near as good as all these people. Why would they want to listen to me? And then I think Jim just turned around to me one day and just said, look, the way to think of it is like this. They all know something which you don't. You know something which they don't. The community is about sharing that knowledge. And that's all it is. That, to me, that just sums it up perfectly.
Yeah, true.
And yeah, it's the best thing that I ever did. And I think I've got 4 presentations lined up this year.
Yeah, you got so excited. It's so cool to see that from
exactly,
basically someone that has that first stage fright nerve.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, it's so well, hyped up is maybe too expressive, but all excited about the response and the fact that you now have community friends that you can share these cool things that you've discovered, and see that it helps them as well. And then you get into this whole, when's my next gig?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I love that.
So we need to get Stefan to eat at EVC.
Definitely. Yes.
That's the challenge.
Definitely.
I think Madrid is the next one, isn't it? In November. So Stefan, November, Madrid, you coming?
Will do.
I think it's going to be Athens or Lisbon.
It's Athens, isn't it? Athens.
Fine by me.
Yeah, that's going to be fun too.
Yep.
Yeah, and Stefan, if you're up for any presentation, I know that Neil and I would love to mentor you because, like I said, I kind of shifted my focus from trying to be the presenter to now more being the enabler for new presenters. With mentoring, as I got some experience. Well, in my case, mentoring one-on-one sessions with women in IT, because with me and Teresa Miller and Joe Harder started CUGC Women in Tech mentorship program to get more women in IT visible and to build basically like a small community platform. And I had such a cool experience mentoring new presenters. So together with Jim Moyle, who's been a great mentor, sharing his experience and taking them along even at the preparation phase. So he's not just helping you present on stage, but he's also learning you where he gets the cool images in his presentation or how he builds his story. So those are like very valuable lessons.
Yeah, so I think this is just the beginning. So,
No.
so
This
the
is the
the
part where
start
you.
of the community and this podcast, this presentation. So I will definitely going to present things like around WVD.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was gonna say this is the part where you say all excited, yeah, I'm gonna present, and then after the podcast go, oh my god, what did I sign up
What
for?
did I just said? No, I already spoke with Neil about this one.
Yeah. So
So I'm
Cool.
yeah.
very eager to learn new stuff and the same with like presenting. And I already did a few presentations, but not for like 50, 100 people. But we will come to that one. So I think it's now time to talk a little bit more technical, I think.
Oh, link me to WVD.
So yes. So Esther, we had a very nice chat last week together about literally everything you could think of, like WVD, DevOps, automation. But can you explain our listeners? So where did it start for you? So we all
Yes.
know the Netscaler part, but where did it start for you to automate things and to dive into DevOps and REST APIs and things?
Well, most of you know that I've been a consultant for end user computing for a long time. And one of the things that I quickly learned is that it helps so much, especially if you go from one project to another, to not always manually repeat the same steps. So I started to dive into PowerShell, which I still call a scripting language and not a programming language, to make sure that I don't offend any developers. Because we can have a whole conversation on that as well. No, but I found PowerShell to be an awesome scripting language to help me automate basic administrator tasks. And then basically I challenged myself first with the Citrix infrastructure components to automate or to create automatic deployments and configuration scripts. So and I wanted to share that with the administrators that I was working with, implementing different Citrix solutions. And then I got really challenged because nobody had any Netscaler experience, and we needed to upgrade the current Netscaler design and implementation for a customer. So I was very fortunate to have a one-on-one conversation with one of the Citrix consultants that basically explained me how Netscaler worked. And then I discovered REST APIs and how those can help me in automate and script Netscaler configurations. So that helped me to switch basically to REST API interfaces. And that helped me to switch basically to Azure as well, and dive into the Azure PowerShell scripting, dive into REST API calls to get Azure automation even, or to even automate running runbooks in Azure. So it's been a granular upgrade, challenging myself with new technologies or new products, but basically still improving on my PowerShell skills and on my REST API skills. And then I got very lucky last year that ControlUp reached out to me and asked me to start writing scripts for them, because they have this cool monitoring solution where they allow users, or admins in this case, to incorporate custom script actions, which are basically PowerShell scripts that you can run through an agent on the machines that you are monitoring. And then since 2 months, they challenged me to really dive into WVD and build some cool scripts for that. So we can now also integrate WVD into the ControlUp monitoring.
Cool.
And that's still very early stages, so there are no script actions available just yet, but I'm working really hard to make sure that we will be able to get some scripts out there as fast as we can.
Do you know when they're coming? Any release dates?
Well, I very boldly said that I would release my first scripts last Friday, and I didn't make that release date, so I'm not gonna make any release dates yet, because obviously it's not just my scripting, so we need to test them as well, just to make sure that I'm not running around in circles chasing my own tail, or I learned from the past that I had some prerequisites in place that the script didn't error check for. So just making sure that it's a good solid solution that we are going to introduce.
So, do you got some examples you are working on some roadmap?
Oh, do you want
scripts?
Do you want me to share some? To be honest, I was kind of expecting this question, so I did prepare some. I'm not sure if I can show you, but oh, what the heck? Let me just because I'm fully invested in OBS Studio, so I think I can share some of the stuff.
Oh, you're going to share it with us?
Yeah, sure, no problem. Just give me a. So I'm very fortunate that, for instance, Control Up. Let me share this one. So look, that's me. Very cool there in the corner.
Cool.
So this is the world premiere.
This is a world premiere. So Control Up lets me play around in their environment. So as you can see, I hope it still is visible, because I know sometimes the quality drops for video streaming in these conference tools. But if you look at the host pool within the new spring release for WVD, then you'll notice that you have all these details. So what I'm simply trying to do is to build scripts, and this is for the session host, that will basically retrieve all that information that the portal is showing and show that same information. So right now it's just a bunch of get scripts. And the next phase will be to add same functionality that you can do through the admin portal. Oh, hang on. I didn't share.
So
my
you can just
screen.
configure settings in your host pool via Control.
Yes, so I just writing scripts that will basically, if it runs, produce the same information.
Okay. So from the dashboard, you get a look at CPU, like they do for all the other products, right? They give a very high level overview of CPU, disk space, memory, performance metrics, all that kind of stuff. Right?
True, and this way, hopefully, this makes it easier for Control Up to integrate it fully and have like a similar navigation pane structure that you have for Citrix or for Horizon. And have that for WVD as well. So we're trying to work on that. Same as integrating like the actions that you have for session host to set the drain mode or not. So that will be my next challenge to make sure that you get the script actions that allow you to turn on drain mode. So and to maybe even if you go to the users and search for your users, that you can do within the portal, like the assignments, even if there is a session active, you can log off or disconnect like the portal is doing. I want to provide those actions as well. So hopefully I'll find enough time, because of course in these times I guess well, we still have very busy projects, making sure that everyone can work from home. So I have to find the time to get concentrated and to stay focused on scripting. But yeah, I hope to be able to release some cool scripts very soon.
Nice, very much looking forward to that.
Yep.
So that was a totally unprepared demo.
Yeah,
and it went very well. So
Yeah, so technology saved my ass. Yes,
yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, it's quite interesting to. So when I sort of look at people using WVD, one thing which I'm noticing very quickly is the people who are the most successful at it are the people who've used all the automation technology available to them. Obviously, when we're used to on normal EUC environments, for example, building Citrix infrastructures, building Horizon infrastructures, building RDS infrastructures, there are a small number of people who probably automate that all stuff end to end.
Yes.
I think going forward with WVD, because it's natively integrated into the Azure portal, and a lot of the use cases I see now for people using WVD are kind of native Microsoft people, so they're used to working Azure with PowerShell. I'd like to get your thoughts on this, but I think automation is going to go very much in hand with WVD.
True. And I know you had a podcast with Tom Hicklin the last time, and he wrote this awesome blog post on, especially from an operative point of view, to use automation tools or orchestration tools like Azure DevOps on creating your own custom build for the session host for WVD, and to basically keep innovatively updating your image and making sure that your session pool is updated as well. And I try to follow all the steps, and so I cannot take credit for any Azure DevOps that I created yet. But I was talking with Stefan that I am convinced that, especially if you look at cloud, that the only way forward or to stay innovative or basically to differentiate yourself from day-to-day administrative tasks where you can easily use the portal and have that visual confirmation, is that we have to move forward and incorporate automated actions in our day-to-day business. Because I think technology is evolving so fast that if you want to keep up manually, you either have to give up a quality assurance, because we're humans, so we have this tendency, even unconsciously, to have some small errors slip into our work. Because we're not robots, we cannot repeat the same process over and over and over. And I've seen that on projects that I've been doing, like more than 5 or 7 years ago, where we were introducing automated deployments of virtual machines on a platform. And it started with infrastructure as service, and we slowly built it out to platform as service. Because the administrators had manuals of 37 pages with instructions, and every time a new virtual machine was handed out in production to the developers, they discovered that there was always 1 or 2 things that were either different or missing or introduced by mistake or accident or enthusiasm. So those 2 machines were never the same. And I think that's where automation will help us, because it will allow us, I think, as more experienced, to basically share our knowledge. Only this time it's not like the detailed product knowledge that we have, but basically our workflows. So this is how we always do our stuff. This is what differentiates us or makes us the popular admins with users or with product managers, because we deliver some quality. And this is how I did that. And if we are able to translate that natural workflow into automated tasks, and be able to share that with collaboration platforms as Azure DevOps currently is, then I think we can uplift the quality of the entire team. And it also builds like an ecosystem that allows newbies or those that are do not feel very comfortable scripting. They can still run the automated workflows. And as they feel more confident running those workflows, they can have that natural curiosity fulfilled, because then they will naturally start to look at, what is this script that I'm running? What does it do? And try to learn it or read it and understand it. And then if they feel comfortable understanding those scripts and reading the scripts, they will slowly evolve into building their own scripts, because they discovered that even though that workflow works, it still can use some tweaking and turning on some knobs to make it a better process or a more efficient process. And then they will slowly grow into contributing as well to the workflows and the automated tasks, and becoming those developers themselves, basically. So I think it's offers a lot of opportunities instead of the old maybe fear-based debate that automation will take away jobs. I think it creates a whole new but that's, once again, that's my excitement, a whole new way of sharing knowledge, working together, and being passionate about the fact that hitting one button creates an entire WVD session host pool with your latest image.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's going to be like a whole new world to discover together.
It definitely is, because
and it's going to pull you into scripting as well,
yeah.
Neil.
And me personally, I'm not a massive scripter. I'd openly admit I've always really struggled with scripting. My brain sometimes just does not get it. But yeah, I'm now heavily, I know I have to. If I'm going to be going deep into WVD, then there's no way around it. You're going to have to get into all that automation and scripting and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think the cool part is that you don't have to be the scripter.
No,
you can be like the workflow planner, or if you can basically translate your actions or your knowledge into this is a good way to do this, and just slice it up in like simple tasks.
Yep.
And determine the order of those tasks, then you can have someone that is enthusiastic about scripting, like me, that will spend a whole evening just translating all these tasks that you have written out, basically, into automated tasks that produce the same result as you described. And then if we can connect that, then basically, even though I'm the automator, you still are the one that is basically like an orchestrator, making sure that that workflow is translated into, an automated delivery of content or configuration, infrastructure as code, as we now call it. So yeah, it's going to be exciting times.
Certainly. I mean, a use case that I can see straight away. So obviously people used to use PVS, non-persistent desktops, because they liked it, because every time you got a clean desktop. I think James Rankin did a presentation at the Citrix user group where he said the company he was working at, they used the DevOps methodology to basically every month, they rebuilt all their servers.
Yep.
Rebuilt them from scratch.
Yes.
And I was like, wow. So if you can script WVD desktop creation end to end, instead of patching your desktops, why not just rebuild them every month?
Yeah, with the latest updates, with the latest applications.
Exactly. So every month your users get nice, clean desktops, not the weird Windows issues that you get randomly that you'll get from a desktop over time. Every month you get a nice, clean desktop. And as you know, the speeds that you can deploy desktops at, I mean, I think Marcel Miori did his demo using WVD admin where he deployed like 6,000 hosts in an hour. So
I love how he already is enabling those that do not have those scripting skills to present them with a GUI, So you still have that visual confirmation, but in fact, deploying everything through scripts that or scripted tasks that he already wrote out for you or programmed for you. So that's the collaboration that I think will take this to the next level.
Definitely, the power is just insane when you think about it. We have unlimited options, right?
Yeah, and I think we're very fortunate that we come from the Citrix EUC background where we already have that PVS experience. So we already understand that you can differentiate between image building and image streaming or image hosting, simply said. So we already know that those are like two processes. And I'm currently at a customer project where they basically had or used PVS by just opening up the existing image, tweaking it or adding new software to it, like uninstalling, reinstalling newer versions, and then sealing off the image again. And now I'm educating them that you can build a whole automated process because that, to me, at least, introduces a more cleaner system. Because instead of doing the uninstall of a product and doing a reinstall or a new install of a newer version, you just pull out the old version from the automation build, put in the new version, well, if you're lucky, you don't need to tweak anything on the automated installation because it's using the same parameters and it's just a version upgrade. So it will fit in nicely, but you just hit that button and within an hour you have a new build that doesn't have that pollution of older version installation, including bugs, uninstalling it, maybe not removing all bugs, and then installing a newer version that might still be affected by the bugs that were left by the unsuccessful uninstallation. So that's a much cleaner way. So I think that gives us more control over, well, basically the end user experience.
Definitely.
And in my opinion, that's what matters the most. And I know that's one of the things that Stefan and I got so excited about in our conversation earlier this week, where we were both going like, yes, the end user experience, that's like the icing on the cake. If they are excited, then you know you have a successful project. And whether that project is like just an automated installation of software that they need, or an automated upgrade of an image of a virtual desktop that they use, or if it's the entire infrastructure fully deployed in greenfield, with the greenfield way of working in mind. That basically depends on your own scope of project, what you feel comfortable with, because I think it's still an it's still an organic learning process. So you start small and you build it out granularly as you feel comfortable, and before you know it, you get excited from just writing one little script to hitting a button and fully deploying an entire ecosystem, basically. But in the end, I think it's
in
still
a consistent way,
in a consistent
every
way,
time
definitely.
the same way, without creating with like things like versioning control for. So with DevOps, you got your versioning. You know literally what has changed. Everybody knows what has changed.
Yes, and that's something I still have to learn, and that's one of the things I had to admit. I think I only recently started to really trust versioning and source control systems, like GitHub, for instance. So I was still that person that had like 10 or 20 copies of one script and used a date in the script name to make sure that I could keep track of which script was newer. And I could always revert back to some of the changes that I made that weren't successful and had to revert that by looking at, well, basically older dated scripts. And now I'm learning that if I trust on a source control or a versioning software like GitHub, and do my regular commits, I can roll back. And that basically gives me a much cleaner way of building my scripts, because I'm not commenting out different old code sections and adding in some new stuff. But I feel more comfortable just throwing it away and restart my creative process. And not have that reminder in the corner of my eye that says, "Oh, wait a minute, this was what worked or what seemed to work," and just keep running around in the same circle. But if you really get rid of it and start all over, then very cool new stuff is happening.
Yep. So I think for especially for WVD, but also for like things like Citrix Cloud, that I think in the end everybody can just deploy the host pool, deploy the workspace, and I think in the next few years the focus will be on like things like image management. So, and it doesn't even matter how you are going to deploy that image or going to create that image, because, for example, you can just create an RM template, which will deploy a virtual machine, and then you copy your content of all the applications and click through all those scripts and seal it and deploy it. But you can use like things like MDT or SCCM, or as we call it, the Pore Management SCCM, with just the scripts. Or things like DevOps with PowerShell, and yeah, I think that will be definitely the future of WVD, and with the focus on the image management and versioning and the test and acceptance of those environments, to do that like an automated and consistent way.
True. And I think that also confirms what we've seen for like the last 10, 15 years. Anyone that is able to basically customize standardized software, whether it's an application where you build like custom dashboards in, if you have the ability to customize that part, then all of a sudden it becomes added value for your end user. So the same will be, or the same applies for end user computing. In the end, we will all have those common infrastructure components, whether it's a Citrix infrastructure or WVD / Microsoft infrastructure, or it's Horizon / VMware infrastructure. Those components and the service that they deliver will be similar, but the real game, so to speak, or the game changer, so to speak, will be that session host that gives you your user experience, that gives you that virtual desktop, where you are looking for the software and want that software to act in a special way, or to be configured in a special way. And if you have grips on that and basically do your magic there, then yeah, you're gonna be the popular guy or girl again at the office, to be simple, because in the end it's those users and the fact that they get the expected experience, or maybe even better. If they are blown away with what you build, then that's even more amazing. But that will be the icing on the cake. That will be your reward, basically. And that pat on the shoulder saying you did a great job. And I think that's still what we are looking for, especially if you're passionate about your work. You want that one person in the audience going like, "Oh yeah, what you just saw showed me. That's awesome. You opened my eyes," or just simply a user that just peeks around the corner and says, "Good job. I've been waiting for maybe 1 year or 2 years to actually be able to use this feature within the software, and now you enabled me to do that. You're gonna make my life easier."
With that in mind, I find it very interesting in all those presentations and blog posts about in this case WVD, everybody is doing things manually. So they just going through the wizard. They are just deploying the default ARM templates.
True.
But for example, I don't know if I know Neil hasn't seen it already, but maybe you, Esther, the presentation from Freek Berson and Misha.
Yeah.
About the app attach and MSIX, and their demo was based on Azure DevOps.
Yeah, Misha built some really cool, and I still struggle with some of the terminology, but I think pipelines are the correct word,
yep.
or workflows, as I still like to call them, because we all know what a workflow is. So he built some really cool workflows to basically automate running scripts. And I think that's the added value that, especially as a consultant in end user computing, that you can offer to your customers to be able to, and first you'll need a clear understanding of the components and how they work and the architecture and how they interact.
Yep.
And of course, you first have to play around manually and figure out what the options are that you have.
Yeah, what the expected result will be. Well, yeah.
True. But the added value as a consultant, instead of an administrator that does his daily job, and not to diminish any of the daily administrative tasks or that role. But I think one of the drivers that we as consultants have is that we want to give that added value. So you want to take it to the next level and not just, like you say, repeat the blog posts and follow all the steps, but to add your magic to it and automate it. So that makes life easier. And as I try to explain to a lot of administrators that I've been working with, yes, the whole learning process at the beginning will mean that it will take you probably 12 or 20 or 40 more hours to build your first automated workflow. But the fact that you can repeat that or repeat parts of it will eventually give you back a multitude of those 40 hours within the next year.
Yep.
And even though it might not feel like it's worth spending those 40 hours into that, because of course, upfront, you have no idea how much time it will take you. But as you gain experience and are able to connect the dots, basically, with the automation, to build your workflows and to translate workflows to automated tasks. Even if it's as simple as add a user to Azure AD, for instance, or just simple tasks to start with, to build your confidence and to start seeing larger projects or larger challenges for yourself. In the end, it will allow you not just to do tasks faster, but it will give you time to spend in, well, what you love most, hopefully. Because those that do not like scripting, I think they still will find a passion in, like I said, even the workflows, writing out workflows, or maybe just being part of the process that approves certain actions that will be performed automatically, or inspire your coders to build something cool by just being the visionary or the creative mind. Yep. that motivates people. So I think there's a whole scala of roles and that we still need to discover to bring back a lot of fun in work. Because I think that's the most important thing, to have that fun back in your work.
Definitely.
Totally agree.
So I have no idea what the time is. So quickly glancing aside, because as I warned Neil and Stefan up front, once you get me started, I forget time, I get excited, and I keep talking, hopefully with some sensible words, but...
Yeah, I think we're approaching an hour, so it's been
cool.
It's been a really, really good conversation, Esther.
Yeah, I had great fun, and thanks for listening and sharing some of my excitement on. Well, in my case, I know we didn't dive into whole WVD and automation in details. So maybe we should do more focused podcasts on that. So I'm challenging Stefan to maybe do like a WVD automation or WVD and Azure DevOps beginners class, something like that.
So it's
nice
funny that you said that. So multiple people have said the same thing. So
that would be fun.
Yeah, it's definitely something that we're looking into. Maybe 4 to 6 hour workshop, deep dive, where people go through the steps of configuring everything from end to end. So.
Yeah, especially because for me, having that blog post from Tom Hicklin helped me by simply stating not just, like you said, the manual steps to go through the WVD admin portal and figure out how to do the settings, but he walks you simply through the process. And even though he didn't dive into what an ARM template is, he still gives you the skills to use it. So I can now get someone, or basically, and this is what I think will be the cool part in this community. So someone that's really excited about ARM templates and can do real magical and cool stuff with that can basically share with me a template that is ready to use and will do all the functional stuff that I'm looking for. And then I can be very excited about picking up that ARM template and having that workflow ready to deploy a machine based on that template, or to deploy the Azure resources based on that template. And I can even tell you what I recently was diving into in how I'm using a service principal to make sure that I don't have that pop-up window where I have to put in my WVD credentials or my Azure credentials. But now I have a service principal, and I don't have like the full scale key vault yet locally, but I do have a way to securely store like the secret for my service principal. But that's just one part. And if we combine all these different skills or information parts that we are discovering ourselves, then I think as a community, we can do so much magic. And yes, as I'm saying, I'm getting so excited because I can already vision how cool this true community collaboration can be and how much fun we can be. And I apologize up front to all the spouses and partners if I'm stealing a lot of community enthusiasms away from them because we start to get actively involved in building cool stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Cool.
Right, well, I think we'll need to end it there.
No problem.
But no,
just cut me off. Yeah.
No. So you're the third person that's mentioned how cool it'd be to have that kind of workshop / 6 hour presentation going from start to finish, all scripted and stuff. So
well, it doesn't even have to be like 6 hours. We can just keep it for well, maybe like with the PowerShell and 30 lunches kind of series. So we can just build like smaller videos.
That's a good idea.
Same as just like Azure Learn or Microsoft Learn is now doing. It just gives you smaller sections, and if you combine like 6 videos, then you have the entire workflow. But we can zoom in on different parts of the workflows and just do like a small deep dive of those. And like I said, I am already excited. I am heavily invested in my video streaming studio. So happy to help you out. And
good. We'd love to work with you, Esther.
Yeah.
Work on some cool videos.
Yeah. Good. All right. Well, as I said, thank you very much for your time. I'm sure we're going to be hearing a lot more from you. And thanks for everything that you do to the community, Esther. I know you're very, very passionate. Yeah, so a big thank you for everyone for all the help that you've done over the years as well.
Cool. Looking forward to even more fun together.
Indeed.
Yes, will do.
Okay, talk to you soon, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.